The story of the poor woman. One day, a poor woman came to Umar ibn al Khattab complaining about the hardships she faced. She explained that she was struggling and needed help. Omar, knowing that the Islamic treasury contained funds for the poor, gave her the assistance she required. He then said, "If this is your situation, it is our duty to help you." However, he emphasized that financial aid alone was not the solution, and that improving the conditions leading to poverty was equally important. The story of the unjust judge. One day, someone came to Omar ibn al Khattab complaining about a judge who was ruling unjustly. Omar acted promptly by summoning the judge and reviewing the cases he had handled. Discovering the judge's lack of fairness, Umar immediately removed him from his position and appointed a more just judge in his place. This story highlights Omar's strict stance against injustice and his commitment to ensuring that judges under his rule were fair and impartial. The story of punishment with justice. It is said that a prominent person from the Quraysh tribe committed an offense that harmed others. When he was brought before Omar ibn al Khattab, he expected leniency due to his social status. However, Omar applied the law to him just as he would with anyone else. Umar said, "People are equal like the teeth of a comb. No distinction should be made in justice between the great and the small." The person was punished according to the law, emphasizing Umar's commitment to equality before the law. The story of the sick donkey. One day, Umar ibn al Khattab saw a sick donkey in the market. He was surprised that people were not caring for the animal and decided to take action. He went to the governor of the region and said, "If you cannot care for animals, how can you govern people?" He instructed the governor to improve animal welfare in the area, reinforcing that compassion for animals is part of the justice and mercy that every leader should strive for. The story of the complaint against a governor. Once, a man came to Umar ibn al Khattab with a complaint against one of his governors. Umar listened to the complaint and formed a committee to investigate the matter. After confirming the validity of the complaint, Umar took disciplinary action against the governor and ensured the complainant's rights were restored. The story of Ibn Umar and Justice. Ibn Umar, the son of Caliph Umar ibn al Khattab, was governing a region. One day, a citizen filed a complaint against him. Umar did not hesitate to personally investigate the complaint. After a thorough examination, he confirmed its validity and took corrective measures against his son. These stories illustrate Umar ibn al Khattab's unwavering commitment to justice and equality, showing how fundamental the principle of justice was in his rule. The story of the Banu Makhzum woman. One day, a woman from the Banu Makhzum tribe, a noble and wealthy clan in Mecca, was caught stealing. Despite her high social status, Umar ibn al Khattab did not hesitate to apply the legal punishment for theft. When some people tried to intercede on her behalf because of her noble lineage, Umar firmly stated, "The punishment for theft is the same for all, regardless of one's social status. If my own daughter were to commit theft, she would receive the same punishment." This story underscores Umar's commitment to applying the law impartially and upholding justice, regardless of social class. The story of the lost camel. During his caliphate, Umar ibn al Khattab was once walking through the city when he saw a camel with a load of goods. The camel appeared to be unattended and was causing a disturbance. Umar inquired about the owner and learned that the camel belonged to a poor man who had lost it. Umar took immediate action by ensuring that the camel was returned to its owner and that any loss or damage was compensated. This act demonstrated his concern for the well-being of all citizens, particularly the less fortunate, and his commitment to rectifying wrongs. 10. the story of the night patrol. Umar ibn al Khattab was known for his personal commitment to overseeing the welfare of his subjects. To ensure justice and address issues that might not be reported through official channels, he would often conduct nighttime patrols in the city. On one of these patrols, he came across a family in distress. The family was suffering from hunger and poverty. Umar personally arranged for food and assistance to be delivered to them. This story illustrates his dedication to ensuring that all citizens, particularly those in need, were treated fairly and with compassion. 11. The story of the dispute between the Muslim and the Christian. In a case involving a dispute between a Muslim and a Christian, Umar ibn al Khattab ensured that the principles of justice and fairness applied equally to all, regardless of religion. The Christian complained that he had been wronged by the Muslim. Umar listened to both sides of the argument and based his judgment solely on the merits of the case. His fair ruling and respect for the rights of all parties involved demonstrated his commitment to justice and equality under the law. 12. The story of the plight of the orphans. Umar ibn al Khattab took a special interest in the welfare of orphans and those without guardians. He established a system to ensure that orphans received their due inheritance and that their needs were met. One day, a case came before him involving an orphan whose guardian had mismanaged the inheritance. Umar took swift action to rectify the situation, ensuring that the orphan received the proper amount and that the guardian was held accountable for his mismanagement. This story highlights Umar's dedication to protecting the rights of the vulnerable and ensuring fair treatment for all. 13. The story of the woman who accused her husband. A woman came to Umar ibn al Khattab complaining that her husband had wronged her. Umar listened to her complaint, but noticed the man's refusal to admit fault. Umar, known for his fairness, ordered a thorough investigation and mediation between the couple. Eventually, it was revealed that the woman's complaints were justified, and Umar intervened to ensure that the husband corrected his behavior and fulfilled his duties toward her. This story highlights Umar's dedication to resolving personal disputes justly and ensuring fair treatment within families. 14. The story of the governor's misconduct. Once, a complaint was filed against one of the governors appointed by Umar ibn al Khattab. The governor was accused of misappropriating funds and abusing his authority. Umar took the complaint seriously and ordered an audit of the governor's accounts and actions. After verifying the misconduct, Umar removed the governor from office and ensured that restitution was made to those affected by his actions. This story illustrates Umar's vigilance in holding his officials accountable and his commitment to transparency and integrity. 15. The story of the fisherman's complaint. A fisherman came to Umar ibn al Khattab with a grievance against a local official who had seized his catch and extorted money from him. Umar listened to the fisherman's complaint and immediately took action. He called for the official and, after a fair hearing, ordered the return of the fisherman's catch and the repayment of the extorted money. Umar also implemented measures to prevent such abuse in the future. This story demonstrates his proactive approach to protecting the rights of ordinary citizens. 16. The story of the disputed inheritance. Two brothers came to Umar ibn al Khattab with a dispute over their deceased father's inheritance. One brother claimed that the other was unfairly withholding his share. Umar, known for his fairness, reviewed the inheritance laws and the evidence presented. After carefully examining the case, Umar made a decision that was in accordance with Islamic inheritance laws, ensuring that both brothers received their rightful shares. This story showcases Umar's adherence to legal principles and his commitment to equitable distribution of inheritance. 17. the story of the cattle thief, a case involving the theft of cattle, was brought before Umar ibn al Khattab. The thief was caught and brought to trial, but there was considerable debate about the appropriate punishment. Umar listened to all sides and weighed the evidence carefully. He decided on a punishment that was fair and reflective of the severity of the crime, while also considering the thief's circumstances. Umar's ruling was designed not only to serve justice, but also to offer a chance for rehabilitation. This story highlights his balanced approach to justice. 18. The story of the Public Works Project. During his caliphate, Umar ibn al Khattab initiated several public works projects to improve infrastructure and public services. However, he discovered that some officials were embezzling funds meant for these projects. Umar took decisive action, removing the corrupt officials and ensuring that the funds were properly used to benefit the public. He also implemented stricter oversight to prevent future corruption. This story reflects his dedication to maintaining integrity in public service. 19. The story of the blind man's rights. A blind man came to Umar ibn al Khattab to complain about being wronged by a neighbor who had taken advantage of his disability. Umar immediately took the matter seriously, investigating the allegations thoroughly. Upon finding the neighbor guilty, Umar ensured that the blind man received compensation, and that the wrongdoer was held accountable. This story illustrates Umar's empathy and commitment to protecting the rights of those who were vulnerable or disadvantaged. 20. The story of the business dispute. A merchant brought a dispute to Umar ibn al Khattab involving a business deal gone wrong. The merchant felt he had been cheated by a business partner. Umar carefully examined the contract and the circumstances of the dispute. After a thorough review, Umar ruled in favor of the merchant, ensuring that justice was served. He also used the case as a basis to introduce reforms to improve business practices and prevent similar disputes in the future. This story highlights his role in enhancing fairness in commercial transactions. These additional stories further illustrate Umar ibn al Khattab's unwavering dedication to justice and fairness, emphasizing his commitment to upholding the rights of individuals and ensuring equitable treatment for all. 21. The story of the poorest man. One day, Umar ibn al Khattab was walking through the streets of Medina when he encountered a man who appeared to be destitute and was sitting by the roadside. The man explained that he had lost his means of livelihood and had no way to support himself. Umar, moved by the man's plight, immediately arranged for a stipend from the treasury to support him. He also instructed his officials to ensure that the man's needs were met regularly. This story demonstrates Umar's compassion and his proactive approach to addressing poverty.